We knew after the 22nd of April, the attack there, that the Indians would respond in some way. They said they would, and they said their response would be at a time and place of their choosing. And last night we saw what it was, a series of missile strikes in Kashmir itself on a series of bases that Indian intelligence say were terrorist bases. And by and large, they were attacking Lashkar-e-Toiba bases, which they say, Lashkar-e-Toiba, they blame mainly for the attack of the 22nd of April in Kashmir. Pakistan disputes this. There's no confirmation, but that's what Indian intelligence really says. It's said by the Pakistanis that 5 Indian aircraft were brought down. I think that's very unlikely, because if you look at the ranges involved, I mean, some of these places are only 20 miles away from the line of control on the Indian side. Indian aircraft were well capable of launching missile strikes against all of these targets without ever leaving their own airspace. So the idea that aircraft were brought down is stretching it a bit from my point of view, unless the Indians were doing something very unconventional. But quite likely, there were drones over those targets, and they may well have brought down some drones, and that would make perfect sense. So that was so much so expected. But what the Indians also did is that they struck inside Pakistan itself. And if we look at it further south, at Bahawalpur, this was a strike in the area much further south. And in Bahawalpur, the Indians claim that this is a Jaish-e-Mohammed base. This is where Jaish-e-Mohammed, who are not in the frame for that particular attack on the 22nd of April, are said to operate. And Pakistan says that this attack was on a mosque, and that in that mosque, a number of civilians, including women and children, were killed. Certainly, this is verified footage of an attack. This is unverified footage of a destroyed mosque. It's plausible that this is the mosque. This is what Pakistan says was attacked last night. That's plausible. And what the Indians say, of course, is that the mosque is exactly where Jaish-e-Mohammed were planning and where they kept weapons and where they did some of their organisational work. It's plausible, of course, that both sides are telling the truth, because terrorist groups normally base themselves inside civilian buildings. They do their organisation inside civilian buildings, which have other purposes. And so when these bases, if that's what they are struck, then civilians die. So both sides may well be telling the truth about this. But why did the Indians do it? Why strike inside Pakistan when they only needed to strike, for the sake of credibility, the bases in Kashmir itself? Because they want to up the ante a little bit to show that they take those attacks of the 22nd of April very, very seriously. And what this is all about, it's not just tit-for-tat strikes. The Pakistanis have said, well, we will strike back at a time and place of our choosing, and that will happen, we guess, in the next few days. It sounds like playground politics. The grown-up version of that playground politics is that both sides are trying to re-establish deterrence. They're trying to make it clear to the other side that we will hurt you, and if you do this again, we'll hurt you even more, so don't do it again. That's the message. That's the grown-up version. But, of course, deterrence is incredibly perceptual. Deterrence is what the other side feels deterred by. So the threshold of deterrence is what you think it is. And we rely for stability on both sides having about the same threshold. If they get it wrong, if they think that the threshold is higher than it really is, then they can make big mistakes. And whether the Pakistanis have got it right when they respond as they say they will in the next few days, we'll find out probably sooner rather than later.